What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kegges back with you on a Friday night. We are rolling right on through. We have just about made it to the weekend. Thanks for hanging out with me on a Friday night. We're coming at you live on News 6 Plus and on the News 6 YouTube page. So thank you so much for being here. We have a lot to talk about on a Friday night, and most of it is going to be honing in on a timeline of some rain across the state of Florida. Of course, if you're in the Panhandle, you know it's been kind of a raw day, certainly much colder in the Florida Panhandle than where it has been in the Florida Peninsula, where it was super warm today. But that bigger system arrives this weekend, and for the Central Florida area, it's going to be kind of a split weekend forecast. Sunday has the potential to be wetter. Saturday should be on the drier side, but nonetheless, that's what we're going to be talking about over the next couple of days, or next couple of minutes, I should say. And then the cooler air comes in behind that cold front as we move into the day, move really into Monday into Tuesday. It's already here for our friends across the Florida Panhandle. So here's the deal. I want to show you the crazy temperature divide. I mean, you're in two different climates right now. If you are in Pensacola or Tallahassee, compare that to Orlando or Tampa. I mean, my goodness, you hop in the car and drive 3 hours north. Go visit Matt Austin, who's been reporting in the state capitol about redistricting, and he has been bundled up and he's been wet. 20 degrees cooler up there, 49 degrees in Pensacola. What is that? I mean, that's nearly, we're pushing 30 degrees cooler up there. At least it was earlier this afternoon. Just wild stuff. Where we have the front right now, it's basically right over Jacksonville, and it goes to about Cedar Key, and everything north of that is on the cooler side. Everything south of that's on the warmer side. As we get into Saturday, it's going to stall there, and that's where the rain is going to be, mainly into the Big Bend area. And as we get into Sunday, it's going to finally start to push south a little bit, and that's going to increase rain for areas northwest of I-4. I think if you're tuning in from the Space Coast, rain, our chances are still there, but I do think it's going to be few and far between, certainly not as widespread as what we're talking about for north central Florida. So there's the front right there. It is kind of draped from Jacksonville to Cedar Key, as mentioned. That's that big blue jaggedy thing. Scattered downpours from New Orleans back to Apalachicola, just about Panama City. That's where we are seeing the rain. That's where the rain should stay for the most part tomorrow. We're going to get into the high resolution future radar right about now. We'll take a closer look at Central Florida in just 1 second for everybody asking about the timeline for their town. This is where we kind of stand through the rest of Friday. We're going to take this further out. So this is Saturday morning. You see there's a few green specks on the map that indicate some just very quick hitting showers, maybe a rogue downpour in the mix. There's lunchtime on Saturday. You see most of the steady rain into the Florida Panhandle, Mobile, Alabama to Apalachicola. Then we get in on Saturday evening. This is more for like Cedar Key to St. Augustine to Gainesville, in that general area. We're looking for the highest opportunity for rain. Note that there's not much going on in Central Florida. There are a couple of downpours from about Cape Canaveral to Orlando to Leesburg. But certainly the steady stuff is to the north. Now watch what happens, though. Big flare-up of storms as we get into Sunday morning. And this is mainly north of Orlando. So, again, if you're happening to be watching in Orlando or in Tampa or in Kissimmee, St. Cloud, anywhere really pretty much Sanford and south, it's going to be a dry start to Sunday, but it is going to be very wet from Jacksonville to Ocala. So, like, this is a super, super split forecast. It adds to the degree of difficulty in communicating, okay, like, there's going to be literally half of the area that doesn't see rain until we get deeper into Sunday. And then there it goes. The front finally nudges further to the south. This is 4 o'clock on Sunday. Scattered downpours in the mix now from Cape Canaveral to Orlando. But then watch what happens. It continues to fizzle out a little bit. This is 8 o'clock on Sunday. Scattered downpours continue. And then the further south and east the front sags from I-4. the less opportunity for rain we have. So it's all going to depend on location. We'll give you another closer look here so you can actually see from the Central Florida perspective. Again, this is 5 o'clock on Saturday. A few downpours around, nothing too crazy. A few more showers. These should be on the lighter side. And then as we get into Sunday morning, this is when things again start lighting up. And I wanted to give you the closer perspective. You saw there rolling through Palm Coast, rolling through Bunnell, Flagler Beach, Ocala National Forest, back to Denellen. That's where we have the real steady stuff. Again, I'm calling it from about really along and northwest of I-4 on Sunday morning. So there's 11 o'clock, going to church, going to brunch. Anywhere south of Orlando should be dry. North Orlando is starting to play with fire a little bit. And then, like, once you get to Ocala to Palm Coast, Jacksonville, Gainesville, forget about it. That's where I think the heaviest rain is situated. There's 1 o'clock on Saturday as the front starts to sag a little bit further to the south, closer to Daytona Beach, and then New Smyrna early Sunday afternoon. So that's when the best bet should be for the I-4 corridor is going to be Sunday afternoon on the early side, with the exception of a few stray downpours trying to sneak through on Saturday afternoon. This is Sunday. I know I'm kind of going super long with this, but I know you guys have outdoor plans. I know you guys might be doing some things with the holidays here and getting things prepared. And I just wanted to make sure that I timed all of that stuff out as best I could. Here's the rainfall, and you clearly see where the setup is. This model wants to say, I think this model wants to say 2 inches in Orlando. This is the latest update. I don't think we're gonna see 2 inches in Orlando. Need to get, we would really need to get some of that super heavy stuff over Orlando. Let me zoom in a little bit closer. And again, that's going to be through Sunday evening. Let me go back to that. I think this is pretty good. I think 2 inches is a bit aggressive in Orlando. It's kind of an isolated thing. I would probably put it closer to 1 to 2 inches rather than two. But notice the difference. Notice the difference along the Space Coast. Hardly anything. All of the rain is really held, and the steadiest rain along into the northwest of I-4. Alrighty, guys, I have to get my first break in. We are going to talk about the temperatures as this front comes through for your weekend and beyond. And I have a crazy stat for you. If you like your daylight in the evening, I have some good news. Kind of. I'll see you in 3 minutes. Alrighty, guys, welcome back as we continue on a Friday night. By the way, we're taking a live look at Maitland, Florida tonight, and on the bottom, the full moon or the nearly full moon now over Colorado. I just love this shot, so I'm showing it again because we can see it a little bit better tonight. They've got some big time mountain snow out there over the last couple of days, and it just looks fantastic. You can see the topography in the background, so I wanted to showcase that. And those live looks there are courtesy of our friends at WeatherStem. Appreciate the use of their extensive camera network. All right, there, the rainfall expected totals. Again, I think 2 inches a little high in Orlando. I think it'd be more like an inch, give or take. The steadiest stuff going to be to our north and west. Temperature-wise, this weekend, we are still warm. It is split, though. If you are maybe going to see some Christmas lights in St. Augustine, bring the jacket. It is going to be different in St. Augustine than it is through most of Central Florida tomorrow. Just keep that in mind. I mean, again, if you're going to Pensacola and anywhere where you see the blue tiles, the blue squares, 64 in Jacksonville tomorrow, mid 50s in Tallahassee, mid 50s in Pensacola. We're at 82 in Orlando, 80 in Tampa, 83 in Vero Beach. So again, vastly different across the state of Florida, depending upon where you're at tomorrow. Now, Sunday, high temperatures get back to the upper 70s in Orlando, still in the low 80s in Vero Beach. This is as the front starting to sag down just a little bit. We have air temperatures in Tallahassee and Jacksonville still in the mid 60s. So again, still significantly different depending upon where you are at across the state of Florida. Mentioned before the break, we'll go over the timeline coming up in just 1 second again, but mentioned before the break that we have some slightly positive news. That on Monday, our sunset starts to get a little later. So the sunset that we've been dealing with the last week, 2 weeks, we're in our earliest sunset. That's 5:28 into the evening. It goes from 5:28 to 5:29. That's why I said that there's a positive, kind of, because it only increases by a minute. You're not really going to notice it, but you have to start somewhere. The important thing to note there is that while we get a minute back in the evening, the daylight as a whole from start to finish is still going to decrease until we get to the winter solstice, which is the first day of winter, which is on December 21st, because the sun rises get a minute later. So there's the trade-off. However, we're starting to get it back into the evening. Again, not noticeable for quite some time, but just wanted it to know that there's a corner and we are going to turn it. But also important to note again, we're not increasing daylight just yet. The days are still getting shorter until that first day of winter in a couple weeks, December 21st, the winter solstice. So that is what I have for you on that. I thought that was a pretty interesting stat going forward. If you are just joining us, I want to show you again the crazy temperature divide across the state of Florida. And right now we're talking air temperatures into the low 70s in Orlando. We're hanging around 60 in Jacksonville. Pensacola is in the 40s. I mean, it feels oh so nice through middle of central Florida. Although, I mean, I would argue maybe it's a little too warm. It's super comfortable, but for this time of the year, not really feeling that festive out. Nonetheless, it's warm in Central Florida. It's much colder to the north, where some of that cooler air already trying to seep on through. We mentioned this that we could use the rain. I wanted to show you an update on the rainfall totals that we have seen. Well, we haven't really seen anything now. This is for the month of December, so we're only 5 days in. But you see there, we add about a tenth of an inch, 5/100ths of an inch into the deficit each day we go without seeing rain. So, I mean, already though, through 5 days of December, we're running a quarter of an inch to a half inch below normal, with everybody except for Orlando picking up some rain this month. Orlando, we had a few stray showers sneak on through. Was it Monday as a weak cold front came in? And that was about it. So that rainfall is going to be welcome. I don't think we're getting a ton down along the Space Coast. And part of the Space Coast, really interior Brevard County, southwest of Palm Bay in Melbourne, that is where we're abnormally dry according to the drought monitor. And then the drought situation is expanding north. This is where it gets real ugly, is right along the Florida Panhandle. That's where most of the rain should fall over the next couple of days. That's from Tallahassee to Jacksonville, or right around Tallahassee. Um, all that stuff. Exceptional drought. It's pretty rare to get at this part of the year. I appreciate that comment. I appreciate that comment. I don't know whether to call you Mimi Love Good Law or 16 Medicine RN or Medicine RN. I love it. No, I appreciate that. Alrighty, guys, have to get the next break in. When we come back, if you have any questions or comments or all of the above, post them in there. Good to see you guys. Melissa, hope you're having a good Friday night. Hope you guys are doing well this evening. I'll see you in 3 minutes. Alrighty, guys, just want to show you the timeline one more time here quickly, as I have about a minute to get ready for the top of the 10, because we are going to be close, because we do have some impactful weather if you're going to be outside. This is 5 o'clock on Saturday, and again, I think most of us are dry in Central Florida for the day on Saturday. I really believe that. Rain chances, again, are going to be about 30% as a whole for the day on uh most of the day on Saturday. And then once we get into Sunday, that's whenever we start to get in on some of the heavier stuff. Um, there's 11 o'clock on Sunday, the steadiest rain from about Palm Coast to Bunnell, back to Ocala to Nellen, north along and northwest of I-4 for the most part. The further south and east of Orlando you are, I think the rain is going to be a little harder to come by. That's 1 o'clock on Sunday. There's 4 to 5 o'clock into 6 o'clock into the evening. And then there you go, 8 o'clock on Sunday. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me this week. I really appreciate it. I have to go get ready for the 10 o'clock news. The latest model data going to come in. We're going to fine tune that forecast for you and then talk about the temperatures for the week ahead on the other side of the weekend, which it'll turn a little bit cooler. Thank you guys. That's crazy about the YouTube stuff. Thank you again, guys, for tuning in. Really appreciate it. I will catch you in just about 3 minutes, or I will see you on Monday, 9:30. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Enjoy the rain.